Hi everybody, it's Matt here, your local friendly neighbourhood vestibular migraine sufferer. So firstly, apologies there's not been too many videos this year, the year of 2022. It's been, as some of you already know from what I've said in previous videos, it's been a really tough year and my mum's not been very well. So on top of my mum being really unwell, plus trying to maintain a job and stay in work and stuff, I've just not had an awful lot of spare time. And then, to be honest, in some of my spare time, I've not had the motivation to do videos, like for example talking about health and things like that, when I've spent a lot of the day at the hospital with my mum. So in terms of where I'm at, so fortunately the situation with my mum has not seen me relapse with vestibular illness or vestibular symptoms. And again, it just highlights to me how once you find that right combination of treatment, which in my case is the right combination of meds plus a little bit of tweak to my lifestyle, you can then proceed through your life and face challenges that life throws at you without necessarily having any kind of relapse from the vestibular stuff. Now, I'm sure that's not the case for everybody. Maybe there's also, I've been a bit lucky there, I don't know. But for me, I still feel that it is because I've got the right treatment, and that keeps I've got the surfboard now. So when the waves come along, I've got the right surfboard to keep me afloat and keep me sailing along. So that's why there's not been that many videos this year. So what I wanted to talk about really was a subject that comes up every now and then when talking to different people on vestibular sufferers, and also with some of the comments that are posted on the videos, is this whole idea of acceptance. So for me, it needs breaking down a little bit, the whole acceptance subject. I think there's actually two main sorts of parts that can split into. And when I go through them, I bet you can decide before I tell you which kind of part of the pie I'm on. So I think there's a school of thought around acceptance, which is around accepting that you've got an illness that can be quite debilitating, but then also accepting that it's not going to be forever, and accepting that if you can find the right treatment and the right combo of medications or whatever it may be, then you will get better and you'll get to feeling 100% better because the condition's managed and you'll feel, like new again. But then there's a second school of thought around acceptance, which is kind of much more negative and depressing. And that is that you must accept you've got this debilitating illness, and you need to accept that how you feel now and how your life will be is you're going to feel shit as you do now for the rest of your life. And you need to accept that you've got this illness that you can't overcome. So therefore, that's the end of it. And I don't like that school of thought, as you can probably tell, and you probably get that impression from watching some of my other videos. I'm very much in the first school of thought, which is, yes, you need to accept that you've got a bit of a condition here, but you also need to accept, or should accept, that it's something that you can get better from if you find that right combination of treatment. I do not accept that it's a condition that you cannot get better from, and therefore you need to just accept that you are going to feel this rubbish for the rest of your life and tough shit. So it really frustrates me when I hear that, for example, that even doctors, GPs, for example, have said that to patients, that, well, I'm afraid there's nothing we can do, this is how your life's going to be. It's just not true, it's not right. Now, I do understand that there'll be certain situations, and I've spoken to people who are in this situation where the condition can last for years, but I would always say, and I'm sure opinions differ, I'm no doctor, but my opinion is that those people who have struggled for years at a time, I still think that if they could find the right treatment for them, whether it's the right combo of meds, or whether it's something more holistic, or whether it's something more natural treatment, if they need to get on top of their hormones, for example, and they haven't done it, for me, they can still get to that nirvana of getting 100% better. It's just they've been unlucky, really, that they haven't found the right combo, or maybe they've not had a diagnosis for many years, or it might be there's something else at play in their wider health that's affecting the vestibular side that means they're not quite getting better from it. So that's where I see it. I see there's two schools of thought, and very much for me, I'm in the first school of thought, that I accept I've got an illness, but I accept that I will get better if I can treat it properly, and therefore I'm going to focus my energy and efforts on treating. I do not accept that you just have to live like that for the rest of your life. So I think it's also important to say then, well, what's the evidence for me saying that, well, going with a more positive kind of school of thought around acceptance? Well, there's a stack of evidence for me, and I'm one example of it. And you watch my videos because you want to hear about how I've pretty much how you want to find out how I've got better. So, and that's fair enough. That's exactly what I wanted to find out when I was poorly. So I'm living proof of it, and it's not just me though. There are heaps and heaps of people that I know now through the vestibular community, I suppose, through the internet, who have been in dire position in terms of being really, really poorly, worse than what I was, and then now pretty much, if not all, living their life back to normal. It just, as I said, it just takes time, and it takes also finding that right combination that will then get you well. So for me, there is a strong evidence base for that. And as I always say, what tends to happen with the like Facebook forums and things like that is you do get some people on there who are just unlucky and have not managed to get the right treatment to get better. And then you also get people who are usually finding their way onto that forum because they're in the middle of their kind of really peak period of being ill from vestibular. So they go on there when they're at their worst. So those kind of stories all get sort of get kind of could pull you into a bit of a maelstrom of feeling really miserable, like, oh, there's no way out of this, I'm going to be ill forever. But what you need to keep remembering is that once people get better, most people leave those forums, so you don't hear all the positive stories when people do actually improve. As soon as they start feeling better, they're not going to get logged back onto a forum about vestibular migraine. People just get back to the life, don't they, and move on. So you won't get those stories. And then also there are just unfortunately a few sufferers who have suffered for a long time, and my heart goes out to them, it really does. But I still, whenever I interact with them through these videos or on the comments, I will always say, I still think that if you can find the right treatment for you, you will improve and you will get better. So yes, I'm in the school of thought where you have to accept that you have a condition to manage, but you don't accept that you can't get any better. So if that makes sense. And what the things then that I had to accept being in this positive school of thought, well, for me, I accept that I needed to be on some kind of longer term meds for the medium to long term future. Now, I know people have differing views on medication. For me, I think they're a fantastic invention and have helped a lot of people get better. And I accept, and I actually want to remain on a course of medication for as long as possible to keep the condition at bay, because it has worked for me. And as I've said in some of my other videos, I would always advise people to not get overly hung up about possible side effects, because if you have like 1 in 10 billion people who has a side effect, they have to write it down on the back of the packet that this is a potential side effect. But I do understand that some people do really struggle with meds. But for me, I accepted that, okay, well, I'll need to be on meds for the medium to long-term future. And I also accepted that I just need to tweak my lifestyle a little bit. So I know I now need to build a bit more rest into my daily routine. So, and of course, there's some days where you don't get that chance, but most days I will try and have a period, particularly at the weekend when I'm not got the pressures of work, I will have a period where I just don't do anything. I might just lie on my bed or get in my bed, put YouTube blog on or whatever it may be, and just have an hour's rest. And it's not actually a horrible thing to have to accept, is it? Getting in your bed when it's all nice and warm and just listening to a bit of a vlog. So it's kind of a nice thing to do, really. Those are the kind of main acceptances I had, and it's just that I also just know I've got to do certain things to keep this illness at bay, and keeping on those meds, building that rest in, and then also just being a bit more careful when I go into places like supermarkets with the big bright lights and very uncomfortable for me. So I just put my sunglasses on and walk around like a rock star if it's bothering me. So that's where I sit, and as I said, it's not bullshit. There's so much evidence out there that you can get better from this illness. I'm living proof of it. I know heaps and heaps of people who I've made friends with, connected with through these videos, who have all followed the same pattern where they have got better and better and better. And some of them are like me as well, where they accept though that they just need to keep on the medication, or need to keep doing the things they're doing to keep the illness at bay, to manage it. And then, as I said, I've also met people who've unfortunately been told or believe that they have to accept that they're going to be ill for the rest of their life. And as I've said, sometimes there's good reason why they're thinking that, because they haven't found the right treatment, or they've been told that by an expert. But in my opinion, that expert is talking absolute shit and is not an expert. So that's kind of where I want to leave the video, really. So is if you're a person who has been told that you need to accept you're going to be poorly for the rest of your life and that's it, there's no way out, hopefully this video will give you hope that actually, no, that's for me not the right school of thought. And I think there's a stack of evidence to show that actually the one that I subscribe to is the right acceptance, so to speak, the right paradigm to be in, which is, okay, I accept I've got an illness. I know I can get better from it with the right treatment, but I accept that I just might need to have slight tweaks to my life once I'm past the worst part, just to keep myself healthy going forward. And that for me is perfectly fine. And of course, some of it will have a stack of other benefits, won't it? If I'm eating better as I do now, I eat a lot better than I used to. That has a stack of other health benefits, doesn't it, to help my body in general. So there we go. So hopefully that's of some use, particularly those people who are really, really struggling and feel like there's no hope, and they've been told that, you know, there's no way out of this. You need to accept your life's going to be dog shit and full of these stupid symptoms for the rest of your life. As I've said in some other videos as well, don't forget the human body changes an awful lot throughout the lifespan of a human. So, for example, we're not the same as we were when we were 1 year old, are we? Because we've physically grown, we've, you know, become adults in speech marks, if anyone ever actually does. So your body is not fixed. It won't just stay the same constantly throughout your life. So that's another reason why I think the whole accepting you'll never get better is bullshit, because your body does change over time and nothing in your body stays as it was maybe 10-15 years ago, apart from maybe your eye colour and that kind of thing that are, you know, not going to change overnight unless you're Incredible Hulk and suddenly go green. But anyway, I've rambled on enough. I hope that was useful, and I will see you in the next video. Remember, as you were, you'll be again. Take care, everybody.